Hello and welcome to another episode of Transport in Africa, a weekly podcast dedicated to spotlight cutting-edge research, innovations, and ideas shaping transport systems across Africa. I am your host, Polycarp Chebe. In each episode, we sit down with a researcher, practitioner, or change maker who is redefining how mobility works in Africa. In today's episode, we are turning our attention to a pressing issue that affects millions of lives every single day: road safety. From pedestrians and border riders to school children and commuters, African cities are grappling with the urgent need to make roads safer for everyone. In Kampala, Uganda, like in many other African cities, road crashes remain a major public challenge. Joining me is Jemima N, the project coordinator at the Bloomberg Initiative for Global Road Safety, working in partnership with the Kampala Capital City Authority and other stakeholders to reduce road traffic crashes and fatalities in Kampala. We will be discussing the realities of road safety in Kampala, lessons learned from local interventions, and what other African cities can take away from these experiences to make their streets safer, more inclusive, and more resilient. Hello, Jemima. Good to have you on this show.
Hi, Chebe. Thank you for having me. And good afternoon from Kampala.
To start, can you please tell us a bit about yourself and the Bloomberg Initiative in enhancing road safety efforts in Kampala and beyond?
Certainly. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chebe. And hello to your listeners. Yeah, my name is Jemima N. My educational background is construction project management. However, along the way, I picked interest in road safety. And so right now I am a road safety practitioner. Currently, I am the initiative coordinator of the Bloomberg Philanthropies Initiative for Global Road Safety in Kampala, and I am based at the Kampala Capital City Authority, and that is KCCA, as you mentioned. The focus of the initiative, of the Bloomberg Initiative, is enforcement, mass media campaigns, and data use, and that is surveillance, data use, crash data, and surveillance data to inform road safety decisions, as well as advocating for safe speeds. Over the past few years, probably about 6 or 7 years, I have been involved in planning, the execution, community-facing road safety work across the city of Kampala. And this ranges from assessing pedestrian needs to advising on speed management and design intervention. It's just to make sure that roads are inclusive of all road users. And the Bloomberg Philanthropies Initiative for Global Road Safety has been such a catalytic partner for Kampala and so many other cities. It's not just Kampala in the initiative. There's lots of other cities that are being supported by the initiative. And it provides technical support, it funds pilot projects, and it helps build local capacity in the city for data-driven. And it further helps translate policy into measurable reduction in road trauma. And it has also helped the city of Kampala and even the other cities to accelerate the local work that they do that would otherwise have never taken off or taken much longer to get off the ground.
Yeah, thank you very much. Impressive work from your side and from the Bloomberg Initiative. In a study across 9 African countries by the International Road Assessment Program, 55% of the surveyed roads were rated 1 star for pedestrians. That is the lowest rating, indicating high vehicular speeds, poor road design, inadequate pedestrian facilities, and high traffic fatalities. None of the roads receive a 5-star rating, which indicates the safest roads for walking, with very low speeds and high quality facilities. From your experience, what are some of the biggest road safety challenges currently facing Kampala and other African cities?
Powered two-wheelers or motorcycles, also known as bodabodas or kadas in different parts of the continent, are one of our biggest challenges, in Kampala and the other African cities. However, the big challenges are a mix of things. They're a mix of design, speed, model mix, vehicle mixing, and then also enforcement that is not sufficient many times. So many roads, a lot of our roads were built mostly to ease, vehicle movement, for faster vehicle movement, and not necessarily safely accommodating other modes of transport, not necessarily accommodating pedestrians or cyclists, or even the informal transport modes that we're actually faced with. In Kampala, in the road safety report of 2024, the most affected road user group were the vulnerable road users, accounting for about 94% of fatalities and close to 89% of serious injuries. So the most affected people on our roads are the vulnerable. And it's also comes of, we have speeding and inconsistent enforcement, which make crashes more severe. But with all that at play, we also have an issue of gaps in post-crash care. And because as much as we can do the prevention or the enforcement or the education and the crashes are still happening, the post-crash care has to come in to help where the crashes do occur. And we still have so many gaps in post-crash care. And as a result, we have the risks associated with road crashes increasing even much further because we end up losing lives that could alternatively have been saved through receiving the necessary emergency interventions within the golden hour. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. So as much as we have the issues with the infrastructure, the enforcement, the education, we also have gaps in post-crash care that needs to be addressed.
Thank you very much, Jemima. I think the statistics you shared are also similar from my experience with what is happening in other African cities where we have the most vulnerable, which are generally pedestrians that are always the most in these crashes. And in most cases, this issue of overspeeding, which is the underlying factor for these crashes, equally with issues of post traffic crash management problems too in other African cities. What are some of
Yes.
the key interventions or programs that have been implemented to improve road safety in Kampala? Could you share any successes or lessons learned from these initiatives or programs?
The city has been very, very intentional, yeah, about road safety. I'm glad to say that it is something that has picked up and works are very intentional towards improving road safety, and that's across the E's of road safety, the 4 E's of road safety: engineering, enforcement, education, and emergency services. A lot of focus has been put on inclusive road design and implementation, and creating safe spaces for pedestrians, controlling speeds through speed calming and adequate designs that manage speed so that roads are self-enforcing, and also providing cycling facilities where possible. So all these are being incorporated in the designs and then implemented um, where space and resources allow. Um, I can give you an example of something that we recently did in the city, and this also got us a bronze recognition from the Bloomberg Speed Challenge, and this was our intentionality towards creating safe spaces for children. So we did do several raised pedestrian crossings on roads near schools, and this went a long way in not only protecting the children of the schools, but their teachers, their parents, but also the communities where these schools are found. So that's one of the examples that I can give. Another one would be the fact that we undertook a project of upgrading the junctions in the city to signalized status. This was to ease traffic congestion, and also in the long run, this technology will also help in promoting safety of the road users. The city also acquired a traffic control center for the same purpose, and hopefully along the way we will achieve our road safety targets as well. One other area that the city is key on is sensitization through community engagements and because at the end of the day, you can't keep putting the infrastructure in place and enforcing without actually educating people on how to use whatever it is that you have put in place. So another thing that the the city is key on is undertaking sensitization, working with stakeholders who are doing similar work in sensitization, for example, the civil society organizations, and to make sure that the communities are aware of how they should use the roads. And the key lesson here is that piecemeal actions cannot achieve the desired results. So everything has to work hand in hand. If the enforcement, the education, the infrastructure improvement, the sensitization, everything is complementary and it has to work hand in hand to achieve the results that we need, but also in a sustainable way.
One of the things that has caught my attention so much, which I think is also key to emphasize, especially when it comes to road safety, is the aspect of slowing down vehicles. I think this is one of the key issues that we need to really look at when it comes to improving road safety. Slowing down vehicles through traffic calming measures. Jemima, improving road safety often requires multi-sector collaboration. How has the Kampala City Authority worked with national agencies, police, health department, or community groups to address this issue?
Thank you so much. Everybody in the road safety space knows and will agree that road safety is shared responsibility. So we approach road safety in the work that we do, we approach road safety inherently as a cross-sector issue. Yes, and definitely there is a lead agency in the country, a lead agency for road safety in the country, and that is the Ministry of Works and Transport. So all the work that we do is guided by policies made by the ministry, and so we have that overarching guide, which is the Ministry of Works and Transport, and the policies made. However, KCCA also coordinates closely with other stakeholders, like the Uganda Police Traffic and Road Safety Department, um, which is very, very, very key in ensuring that not only do we have smooth traffic flow in the city, but also that the road users are safe, but also it does come in handy when we need support, when the city needs support around infrastructural improvements or maintenance activities. The city does not work in isolation. They do reach out to the traffic police to support in traffic management during such situations. And furthermore, another area where the city collaborates with the police is in data sharing. The crash data that we use at the moment is collected by the traffic police. So at the end of the day, when we require crash data about the roads in the city, we do seek that from the traffic police. Another area where the city collaborates with stakeholders is through working with community groups, schools, and civil society organizations that are usually engaged for educational campaigns and monitoring, where the city authority might be understaffed or short on being able to do some of these things. The community groups and the CSOs come in handy and support the campaigns, the road safety campaigns, the sensitization that needs to be done, and also the local monitoring that we might need to do. And they do share this information when they do the monitoring and identify areas that need to be addressed. They always share this information with the city so that the city understands what needs to be done. Another area where we do collaboration, multi-sector collaboration, is with academia. We work very closely with the Makerere University School of Public Health that supports the city with the necessary research and observations for road safety work. So a lot of the data and studies that we use to guide our implementation and our decisions in road safety are derived from studies that are done by academia, and that is one of the wins that we have as far as collaboration goes, because we might not be able to do the research, but we have academia that comes in to support us on this. And a lot of times we then have shared workshops or engagements where all this information is shared, and we get to work together on specific challenges and how to address them. Now, these partnerships are very, very crucial because at the end of the day, as people will, a wise man said, I don't know what wise man said, or wise woman, but at the end of the day, teamwork makes the dream work. So there has to be a team, and a team is full of diverse people, and this is where this collaboration with different sectors and different stakeholders comes in.
Thank you very much, Jemima. Impressive to hear the level of synergy existing between the different stakeholders in Kampala regarding road safety. From your experience working on road safety for over 5 years, what lessons or strategies from Kampala's experience or elsewhere do you think could inspire or inform other African cities facing similar road safety challenges?
Start with the people who use the roads every day, observe them. And now that goes back to what I was saying, that some of the work that we do with the School of Public Health, observations and research. So start with the people that use the roads daily, observe them, engage them, and then design for their needs. And that should be the sequence in which things are done. Don't work backwards, because if you design for what you think are their needs, and then you put something in place, then you get to realize this is not what they needed and it's not working, and that is how projects fail. Yeah. So I would say start with the people, observe, engage, and design for what they need. And then another thing I would say is prioritize low cost and high impact measures. There's so many things that can be done at low cost, but with very, very high impact, and they do go a long way as far as sustainability goes. Additionally, I would say use data, but do not wait for it to be perfect. Yeah, don't wait for the perfect data to act. Pilot interventions, measure results, iterate. At the end of the day, if you need to improve, you will improve. But provided you are using data, get data and work with it. If you cannot measure something, you cannot fix it. So you have to make sure that whatever you're doing, you are using data. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it and then get moving. You can always polish things along the way. Another thing I would say is build institutional links early. Like I talked about collaboration in the earlier question, build these links quite early, align planning, with everybody, so that when you need the stakeholders that you need to get on board, you are not just asking them to fix something that you've already worked on. If everybody is on board right at the start, it gets easier to work together, and that way the interventions get to achieve the goals that they should be achieving, because you always need people. You cannot work in isolation as an institution or as a team. So you need to get everybody on board, and early enough, not only when you think you need them. Finally, I would say blow your own trumpet if you need to, because at the end of the day, visible success builds community interest and support. When people know what's happening, when people know what's working, then they'll take interest in it. They'll try and play their part where they need to. So yes, I would say communicate your wins publicly, as a team, as an institution, or as a section, so that the people that you're doing these things for can pick up on it, view your successes, and appreciate where they need to come in, and they can support, and everybody plays their part. And at the end of the day, when you publicize, these wins and these results, usually these unlock resources for bigger interventions. So you realize that you even get more support to do more than you actually were able to do.
Road safety management is an aspect of teamwork, and there is need for collaboration among the team members. Jemima,
Yes.
are there any upcoming projects or initiatives on road safety in Kampala from your institution that you are excited about?
Well, we're continuing to expand non-motorized transport facilities. And to me, that is exciting because we are now focusing on the vulnerable and providing safe facilities for them. So we plan on expanding NMT facilities with the name of connectivity in particular, so that we don't have just short distances of, say, sidewalks that do not lead to anywhere. So we're focusing a lot on connectivity, and for me, that is a big win because that will mean the city, if we're focusing on, say, sidewalks, that would mean the city, walking in the city becomes safe and easy. So that is something that for me is exciting. We're also working on improving our data collection, yeah, so that we are able to have more data informed or evidence informed interventions. And we're doing this towards a more integrated online approach to maintenance so that new interventions are monitored so that they remain effective over time. So that we can monitor some of these things in real time. And that is also something that I'm looking forward to. Um, I am particularly excited about all the interventions that pair community participation with infrastructure. Yeah. And by that, I mean, like I said earlier, um, designing for the needs of the people. So anything that is pairing community participation and infrastructure, for me, that is very, very exciting because that combination focuses on behavioral change faster and more sustainably. Because if people can look at these things that are being done for them and they appreciate them and they know that they were made for them and for their needs, and they own them, and then they get to definitely act or behave accordingly as they should for much safer spaces.
Lead me to ask you this other question. If you could change one thing overnight to make Kampala roads safer, what would it be?
Oh, wow. I would need a magic wand to do that. So I would need a magic wand and wave it over the city so that our motorcycles behave better. I would need them to behave better. So if I had a magic wand and wave it over the city, and in the morning we wake up and everything's changed, yeah, that's the one thing I would change about.
Finally, what message would you like to share with our listeners, particularly urban planners, policymakers, or community advocates, on why road safety should be a priority in African cities?
My message to everybody listening and the urban planners, the policymakers, the community advocates, is to appreciate that road safety is not a peripheral issue, that it is not a by the way, and it is not a secondary concern, that it's central to economic productivity, it is central to human equity, and it is a public health issue. Every death or severe injury is a loss to a family, it is a loss to the community, and it is a drain on the economy of the country. So we need to know that prioritizing safer roads means achieving safer commutes for workers that are going, to labor and pay their taxes. It means safe routes to school for children, so we're keeping the kids alive, and more inclusive mobility for everybody so that we have more livable cities. So I would say if I had one ask to make, yeah, for the people in these spaces, for the people that are planning for the cities, for the people that are making the policies or advocating, my ask would be that design streets or roads, design them for people and not cars. Measure what matters and work together across stakeholders so that we are delivering solutions to actual problems so that we give people exactly what they need. And we should not be building for cars and ignoring the other modes of transport. We should be building roads that are inclusive of all modes of transport. At some point, even the person driving is a pedestrian, so you need to make sure that as you design these roads or these streets, you're not designing for just cars, but you're designing for people and for people's needs. And when road safety becomes a core requirement or a yardstick for planning for cities, the benefits are immediate, and they're long lasting. So we shouldn't look at road safety as an issue or as something that is secondary to policy and planning. It should be at the forefront. It should be a yardstick, and it should be a core so that we have cities that are livable. Thank you so much.
Full message, Jemima. Road safety is key. It's something that affects everyone, and we need to jointly work hard together in order to prioritize the safety of our roads. That brings us to the end of this episode of your weekly podcast on transport in Africa. Jemima, thank you very much for sharing your insights on road safety in Africa. I wish you all the best in your professional journey.
Thank you, Chiba, for having me, and I wish you all the best with your endeavors.
If you enjoyed this episode or learned something new, please consider subscribing to our page. You can also contribute by sharing this podcast with friends and colleagues who are interested in transport and mobility issues in Africa. If you are a researcher or practitioner working on transport in Africa and would like to share your work on this platform, feel free to reach out to me at chepechesifu@campus.technion.ac.il, and we can discuss how to feature your work on this show. Until next time, I am your host, Polycarp Chebe. Thanks for listening, and bye-bye.